we are welcoming George Steeves, and I don't know if he's already here with us. I can't. There he is. There he is. George.
George.
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Yeah, we're so glad to see you. And for people who don't know you, George, take a second and introduce yourself and talk a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Well, hi, everybody. I'm George Steeves. I'm an actor on the autism spectrum, and I have a brand new show that I'm here to talk about today called Experiencing Love on the Spectrum. We're having our world premiere this Saturday night at 5 p.m.
Fantastic.
Amazing.
Well, kudos to you for getting this underway in the age of the pandemic. I can imagine that it wasn't an easy task. Tell us a little bit about what the show is about, first of all, George.
Well, it's my second one-man show. My previous one-man show was Magic 8 Ball, My Life with Asperger's, and I did it for 2 years. I had a really good run with it. I took it all around the world, all around the country. But now I have a lot more that I want to say, and these stories are from my own personal experiences. I'm going to talk about what dating and sex are like from a queer autistic perspective. It's basically a romantic comedy about falling in love with yourself.
Oh, how nice.
I love that. So tell us where they can see it, though, George.
Well, I'm going to be at the Hollywood Fringe Festival, specifically at the Broadwater Theater, which is on the corner of Santa Monica and Vine. And the specific address, I believe, is 1176 Lillian Way. And we have 5 shows that we're doing all throughout the month of August. We have our first one this Saturday at 5 p.m., Saturday, August 14th at 8 p.m. Then we have Thursday the 19th at 7 p.m., live streaming and in person. So if anybody is from out of state that wants to check it out, they can get tickets for the live stream at hollywoodfringe.org. And then we have 2 more on Saturday the 21st at 11 a.m., and one more, the final one, on Saturday, August 28th at 1 p.m.
I love that you're going to live stream it, George. What an amazing thing. That's so fantastic. So Traven has put in the comments the link to the Hollywood Fringe where you can go to get tickets. And please support George in his endeavor. They're asking, where are you from, George?
Oh, well, I grew up in Pennsylvania. I've been here for 13 years this month in Southern California. So I moved here when I was 19.
Wow.
But I grew up in Pennsylvania, right outside of Philadelphia in a suburb called Fort Washington.
How did you evolve into being an actor and a playwright, essentially? How did that come about, George?
Well, I love that you guys talked about puppets earlier, because I was a child of the 90s who was raised on Sesame Street. Actually, what's kind of funny is cookie was my first word. And my mother thinks it was because of the Cookie Monster. So if it wasn't for movies and television, I wouldn't have started talking in the first place. So movies and television was like my way of connecting with the world. I mean, I've talked about this in previous interviews, but there was a period where I was 3 years old, and because my parents kept showing me Disney movies, all I could say was Cinderella, Snow White, Sleeping Beauty. And that's all I could say. That should have given my parents an early indicator about my sexuality. But anyways, that's very sweet of you. I am not 21. I am 32, but that's very of you to say.
You do look very young, George. You do look very young.
Yes.
I have been blessed with good genes. What can I say? But how I became a playwright was a quote from Shirley Chisholm comes to mind. If they don't offer you a seat at the table, bring a folding chair. Because when Hollywood wasn't giving me a job, I made myself a job 4 years ago. I wrote a play. I put it up at the Hollywood Fringe. I did it purely grassroots. I did not have a company backing me or giving me the money to do this. This was all hard-earned money that I raised myself to do the show. And Magic 8 Ball just opened up so many doors for me. I got my new management out of it. I got a new agent out of it. And I've since have gone on to do NCIS Los Angeles as a guest star. And I have a feature film coming out this September called Saving Paradise. So doing Magic 8 Ball really opened up the doors for me in so
What
many
is,
ways.
George, what is Magic 8 Ball?
Well, Magic 8 Ball, My Life with Asperger's, is a one-man show that was very autobiographical. It talked about my upbringing. In 1 hour, you laugh, you cry, you learn a lot about Asperger's. And that video is actually still available for people to watch. It's on my IMDb page. So you just go on IMDb, type in George Steeves, Steeves. I have 2 videos right there, and that show is one of them, and you can watch it for free.
Isn't that amazing? And so now you've got this second show, Experiencing Love on the Spectrum. And I'm just wondering, you did the one show, you took it to New York, you took it to the Edinburgh Festival, you did all of these things with it. What was the moment? What was the impetus that, what was the thing poking you in the back saying, okay, George, it's time to talk about this?
Well, in the fall of 2019, I had been doing the show for 2 years, and I was starting to get a little bored with it. The material that I wrote just wasn't exciting me as much to perform it. Even one of my directors, Penny Wilson, had said to me, "You don't perform the show with the same intensity that you used to. Maybe you should consider writing a new show." Mm. And she didn't know this at the time, but I had already actually started workshopping a new show. My original title was going to be Confessions of a Queer Aspie, and I started developing it in the fall of 2019. I started thinking of new ideas and new concepts, and okay, how would this show be different from the last one? And I'm very grateful to people like Ryan O'Connell, who has a show on Netflix called Special, which is about a gay man with cerebral palsy. And I feel like he really did open up the floodgates where it's like, okay, there is room for queer and disabled stories. These are stories that people want to see, people want to hear. And so seeing that really inspired me, obviously. And the last show was about coming out. This is going to be about being out. And
Love that.
Just my director is a heterosexual woman, and so I did develop this show with her, and there is probably going to be some stuff that makes people uncomfortable. I know my mother is probably going to cringe at some of the stories I say in this.
Pretty honest? Would you call it a very honest look?
Yes, because a lot of people have this, and I was asexual myself for a very long time, so I totally get it. But a lot of people think that, oh, people on the autism spectrum must not want to have sex or experience sex. And yes, that is true in some cases. I was asexual until I was 27 years old. However, what this play really talks about is that at the end of the day, we want the things that other people want too.
Yeah, interesting, George. How do you think the environment in the entertainment industry has changed with more and more actors, writers, producers being on the spectrum and more atypical people being cast and given opportunities? Do you see that happening in your world?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I feel like, I've been here since 2008, pounding the pavement and paying my dues like every other actor in this town. But I had an acting teacher who tried to get me to not talk about my Asperger's. She tried to get me to hide that part of myself. However, one of my former classmates said, "Isn't it interesting that the one thing she told you not to talk about is now the thing that's getting you work? It's the thing that's getting you notice." And
well, can I just say that, I think that it is one of the things that you bring to the table, but I just want to make sure that I say, George, you're really talented. You're a talented actor. And I think that that is the reason why you're getting cast. I love that they are recognizing, just like any other actor, when an actor comes in and they have beautiful, long blonde hair, They recognize, oh, we can utilize this or we can put a wig on it. And that you are an actor first and foremost. The fact that you are an actor who identifies yourself as being on the spectrum is something that is special and unique to you. But I just want to be clear that from where I stand, I'm seeing you get a lot of work because you're talented and you're doing the work.
Oh, thank you. And I'm grateful that there's been so much more awareness around this. I mean, my feeling is, as an actor, it's our job, this upcoming generation of actors, to leave the industry better than the way we found it. And now these days, it's not just movie studios, guessing anymore on what people want to see. Now, thanks to streaming, there's data there that proves that yes, people want more stories of people of color or people on the spectrum or disabled people. And it makes it even better when you give an actor like myself or any other actor on the autism spectrum the opportunity and the chance instead of just hiring a neurotypical actor. And obviously, we still have a long way to go. I mean, I was, like many actors on the spectrum, I was disappointed when Sia made the decision to cast a, non-autistic actress to play that role. I get that she wanted a dancer, but I felt like, okay, you could have had her be a dance double, or you could have, or just don't write the character autistic if you really wanted to use that girl. But so yes, we obviously still have a ways to go, but I feel like, yes, it has gotten so much better. I'm blessed at the opportunities I have received as an actor. I'm hoping for more after this one-man show and after my movie comes out on September 3rd.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the movie.
Yeah.
Where are we going to be able to see it on September 3rd?
Well, when I was doing the film, it was called Penciltown, but it's been retitled Saving Paradise, and it's going to be in theaters nationwide and on demand on Friday, September 3rd.
Okay.
It's a wonderful story that I'm honored to be a part of. It's, I would call it a modern day Frank Capra movie. It's about a small town, coincidentally in rural Pennsylvania. I found it very serendipitous that my first movie ends up taking place, in the state I grew up in, even though we shot here. But it's about a pencil factory that's in danger of shutting down. The owner dies, and his son comes into town, and we are in jeopardy of losing the factory to a corporate entity who wants to buy it out and restaff it and, basically get rid of all the workers who are currently there, who are older and don't have the opportunities that younger people do, and to get more work. And so it's a wonderful film about community and coming together to save something that's bigger than you and I. And I feel like, especially in these times we're in right now, our political climate, our racial tensions, just everything that's going on in this country, we need this movie to remind people of the best of our humanity.
And do you play the son?
Well, I don't play the son. That's the lead actor. That's the lead. I wish.
Okay.
That's the lead actor, William Moseley, who was absolutely wonderful to work with. You might remember him as Peter from the Chronicles of Narnia movies. He was absolutely a gem to work with and was so sweet and so kind. He came over to me in between one of the takes and said, "You look beautiful on camera. You're going to work for the rest of your life." Doing my best British accent there because he's British. But he was very sweet. And but I play a character named Walter Wilson who works in the mailroom of the pencil factory, and he ends up befriending the main character, who's Michael, who's played by William.
And is your character on the spectrum in the film, or is it?
He is. It's not specifically mentioned in the dialogue, unlike NCIS Los Angeles, where my character flat out says that I'm in a group home for autism. This time around, there's no line of dialogue that says I'm on the spectrum, but because it is based on a real story, the real life Walter Wilson, who I'm playing, was a man on the spectrum. So it was really important for the screenwriter and the director to find an actor on the autism spectrum to play it.
So you're playing a real person. Did you get an opportunity to talk with him or his family, or?
Unfortunately, they did try to get him out here during production, but he doesn't like to fly. But I really do hope that I get an opportunity to meet him someday because I had a lot of respect for the character that I was playing. He's everything that I wish I could be all the
Mm.
time. He is just a ray of sunshine who's optimistic and hopeful, and I wanted to play it with as much dignity and grace as possible because I really respected this character.
So, George, you must have received a lot of feedback from others that have been inspired by your roles. What kind of feedback have you gotten from the community out there?
Well, I I haven't seen Saving Paradise yet, but one of my co-stars, Mimi Kennedy, who you guys might remember as Marjorie from Mom with Allison Janney. I don't know if you guys are familiar with.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, she plays Marjorie on the show, but she was also in this movie. She plays Michael's mother. And I didn't have any scenes with her, but of course it was an honor to meet her, and I geeked out over Mom, of course, because I'm a big fan of that show. And but she had sent me a private message a couple of weeks ago, very sweet, just saying, George, I had an opportunity to watch the movie, and I have to say your performance is illuminating. You
Mm.
really do capture the the heart of the film with your performance, community, one all for one for all, etc. So that was very kind of her to reach out to me personally to say that. And yes, this is a great movie to take children to go see. There's no cursing. It's not political. There's no religious undertones in it. It's just a wonderful modern day Frank Capra story about a small town that comes together to try to save something that's bigger than all of us.
I love it. So, George, I want to pivot for just a second and ask you, we've all gone through this period of time, where it was different for everybody. Some are calling it the great isolation. As an artist, was this a time that was difficult for you, or was this a great opportunity to write? How was this for you?
I would actually say it was a little bit of both. I mean, I obviously had a wonderful, momentous streak in the fall of 2019. I went straight from doing Saving Paradise straight to NCIS Los Angeles. I was like on a roll. So I felt like, okay, great, the momentum's going. We're going to be cooking here in 20. But then, of course, 2020 happened and everything came to a screeching halt in Hollywood. Of course, every production shut down. Nothing was casting. Nothing was, in production. And then when start to open back up slowly but surely, I was very fortunate. I was able to get auditions here and there for different film and television projects. Didn't book any of them, but I had to keep putting things into perspective. Like, okay, George, not every actor can say they've gotten auditions during this pandemic. So consider yourself very lucky and blessed that you're still having these opportunities. Yes, you might not book it, but your chances that other actors can't say they're getting during these very difficult times.
Yeah.
And take this opportunity. I was going to premiere Experiencing Love on the Spectrum in the 2020 Hollywood Fringe. I even had a theater and dates set and everything for 2020, but obviously it got postponed to October of 2020, and then obviously by October 2020 it was canceled because obviously cases were not getting any better. And so I'm actually kind of glad in hindsight because obviously 2020 gave a lot of us the time to really self-reflect on what's important and what's not in life. And with all that self-reflection, I was able to really go back and rewrite this show and really come from my heart on it.
It's amazing. They're asking for your autograph. I want to know, where can people go if they want to be able to follow you and know more about what you're doing and what you will be doing?
Oh, absolutely. If you want an autograph, feel free to send me a direct message on my Twitter or my Instagram. I'm at George F. Steeves, GeorgeFSteeves. You can also find me on Facebook. That I just use my regular George Steeves. And yeah, that's where you can find me, and just message me your address, and I will gladly mail you an autograph. And I just got new headshots, so I can use those.
Fantastic. And
I'm sorry, Shannon.
I was just going to say, Traven just put up your Twitter so that they can find you on Twitter.
Great. Well, obviously, you want this show to be a success, and we're rooting for you on that, as is our audience. But what else do you see in your future? You've already accomplished so much at such a young age. What are your goals, George?
Well, I mean, obviously, as an actor, the only thing I really want in life is just to be a working actor. I don't have to be a star. I don't have to make millions of dollars, but just as long as I'm working enough to the point where I don't have to have a regular job like Uber and Lyft to keep a roof over my head, if I could just get to that point where I'm a consistent, steady working actor, that's good enough for me. I mean, obviously, if anything else like accolades are in my future or that kind of stardom or that kind of fame or fortune, great, wonderful, but that to me is just the gravy. The work really is in being an artist, and there's nothing that makes me happier than when I'm on a set working.
Right.
Because I get to live my passion and I get to be a part of the medium that helped me speak when I was a child.
That's full circle.
Fantastic.
We want to remind everybody that your new show, your new one-man show, Experiencing Love on the Spectrum, has its world premiere tomorrow night at the Hollywood Fringe, which I was saying before, I didn't even know the Hollywood Fringe was going ahead this year. But I love that you're doing in person. So if people want to come out, they can come out. It is in Los Angeles. So if they're in the theater, they will have to be masked because that's just the rule. But if you want to watch it live streamed, I didn't even know that was a possibility. Now I see on the poster, is that just the one performance on the 19th?
Yes, that will be the one and done is live stream for people who are either out of state or people who are not comfortable coming to theater just yet. I know how tricky it's going to be doing theater during the times of a pandemic. Yeah. But we're going to be taking all the precautions possible to ensure everybody's safety. In addition to a mask, you do have to show either proof of vaccination or a negative COVID test from 72 hours prior. We really want everybody to be safe as possible. And also, we are actually doing a little charity tie-in with Bob DeMarco on the first show that I'm really excited about. If you wanted to elaborate a little more on it, Shannon, this is a little fundraising that we're doing to help a family. And
tell us about that. Tell us about that.
Well, Bob DeMarco and Sharon Aragon reached out to me, and unfortunately, there is a family where the mother is struggling with COVID. She's on a respirator, and she is an autism mom. So we're just trying to raise a little money to help her and to help the family out. We'll be having a bucket for donations right by the door where tickets will be sold. Anything you can give. I'm going to have Bob DeMarco briefly after the show and make a little announcement. So I'm very excited to do a charity tie-in for my first performance as well to help out this family with a wonderful, wonderful autism mama bear.
This is, and I don't think we're saying the name out of an abundance of her, keeping her thing, but Nancy, this is a mom that you and I know well.
Okay.
And an amazing family. And so what a great cause.
Great. And
I did
back, George.
Yes, that's amazing. And of course, doing that with some pretty amazing people. So that's incredible. Thank you for being a part of that, George. That's really, really amazing. I thank you for that. So again, if you're in the Hollywood area, if you are up for going to live theater, and there are so many people who have been missing this so much, there's nothing quite like the Hollywood Fringe, man. Yes, you see it all there. I was just saying the other day that I'm a ginormous Ted Lasso fan. Are you guys watching Ted Lasso?
I love Ted Lasso. I think Jason.
I love Ted Lasso. Yeah,
is brilliant.
But I gotta say that Brendan Hunt, who's one of the writers on it, is a child of the Hollywood Fringe. That just a couple of years ago, because he's a member of the Sacred Fools, and just at the very same theater that you're going to be performing at, I saw him performing absolutely filthy. And I remember saying to everyone, oh my gosh, this guy is the most talented thing on legs. I can't believe I just saw him perform for like $10. People are going to get in line later on. And there he is on Ted Lasso, nominated for an Emmy because he's that good. Hilarious, up and coming, and you can see that kinds of talent. Obviously, George and other people like him at the Hollywood Fringe, it's a great place to go. But I love, love, love that if you can't get there, people are saying this is great that they can watch it from Texas. So that performance is on the 19th. We did put in all of the live feature stuff, and I'm sure that Traven will put it in the recorded, where you go to the Hollywood Fringe to get the tickets to be able to do the live stream. I think you're going to blow up internet with that, George.
I hope so. I mean, at this point, after a really rough, excruciating year that we all went through as a country, as a world, as a society, I just really want to make people laugh again. And yes, this show is a lot more provocative. I wouldn't recommend this to children. This is mommy and daddy night, or daddy and daddy night, and
or mommy and mommy night.
Mommy and mommy.
Oh, mommy and mommy night. I mean,
yes. Okay.
Yeah. So, but like I said, I did have cursing in my previous show, and I did have children in the audience whose autism moms brought them, and not a single parent can be. So I mean, everybody's different. So and that was some serious cursing in the last show. Limited though, not So, and yeah, no, I do have a couple of like COVID and political jokes, but everything else is strictly dating and just discovering what that's like at a much later age. Because usually people go through this when they're in high school or when they're in college. I didn't go through it till I was 28. So I talk about what it's like from the former's point of view.
Well, we just adore you, George. We're excited for you. I'm just in awe of how brave you are, like working on all of this and putting together a show in COVID. I mean, it's just extraordinary.
It really
it just shows your passion. And I honestly think that's why you're killing it and getting cast so often. We're going to look forward to, what is the name of the movie that comes out on September 3rd?
Saving Paradise.
Saving Paradise.
Has your NCIS episode aired already?
Yes, that one aired in November of 2019.
2019.
I still have residuals from it, so I'm always happy whenever a residual that comes in the mail.
It's Christmas in July, and Hanukkah in May. It's all good.
If it's a residual for a certain amount, I'm like, score, that covers my rent.
There you go. I love, love, love that. And you are somebody who has been hard at work. As you said, you've been paying your dues, and you've pieced together an income to be able to do the things that you do. This is not easy. This is not easy for anyone. But you're doing remarkably, and our viewers have just been loving. You're so inspirational. And they think it's incredible what you've been doing. So Traven's got all of the links in the comments for you guys so that you can find the YouTube page for Saving Paradise to watch, I guess, the trailer, and to get tickets for Experiencing Love on the Spectrum. Please follow George on Facebook, on Instagram, so on and so forth. Because he needs to have that too, to help propel him to do the things that he's out there doing, which reflect well on our entire community. George, we really appreciate you being with us. Unfortunately, we're out of time, but hey, break a leg tomorrow night.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. Best of luck with the show.
Thank you.
And thank you for being here with us today.
Thank you so much for having me. This is my 4th appearance. I always love doing these.
All right. Well, eventually we'll see you back in the studio.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
All right. You take care. Bye, George.
Bye.
Thanks for watching Autism Live. If you found anything helpful in this video, please give us a like. In fact, make sure that you smash that subscribe button on YouTube and give us a like on Facebook. You can also follow us on Twitter and Instagram for important updates. And please download our free podcast wherever you get your podcasts. See you next time. Until then, give your kiddos a hug from me and one for you too. Bye-bye for now.
To subscribe, click here. And if you'd like to check out some more of our videos, click here.